Hi everybody, Lori here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to introduce the newest STAMPtember collaboration. This one's designed by PinkFresh Studio and it's called Artistic Foliage. And there is a beautiful stamp set. Always PinkFresh Studio has the most beautiful imagery. They certainly specialize in floral and foliage, and this one is no exception. There's also a coordinating layering stencil set that you can use in combination with the stamp set. I'm going to use both on my project today, but you certainly can use them individually. You don't have to have the layering stencil set, but it is fun to have it to coordinate with this image. So first thing I'm going to do is take that large swag of foliage and I'm going to ink it up with Misty Coast ink. I'm going to be using all PinkFresh Studio inks on my project today in honor of the STAMPtember collaboration. So I'm inking that kind of, what do you call it, like foliage swag with Misty Coast onto some Hammermill white cardstock, and then I'm going to use the layering stencil. So the first one is kind of more just a basic coverage of the open spaces in the greenery, and then the second stencil is just a little more detail, and I'm going to do a little rainbow foliage. So I'm using a mixture of blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and reds. I'm not going to try to mention all the colors, but everything that I use will be linked in the description box below if you're watching this on YouTube. So here we have apricot. I'm using Simon Says Stamp blender brushes here with this first stencil. I also have my ink stand holding the ink steady. And then once I get a nice light coating with stencil number 1, I'm going to line up stencil number 2, which is just a little bit more detail, and this time I'm going to do the darker shade in the same color family that I used before, and this time I pulled out the little PinkFresh Studio detail blender brushes. I love these. I love that they come in this cute little box. I keep them in the box because I like that feature about them. I like pulling them out of the box and they stay neat and tidy. And okay, so what I did was, so like I used apricot before, and then for the detail I used clementine. I just went the shade darker. This is kind of like the Simon Says Stamp inks. They have color families. PinkFresh Studio has color families as well, and I love that feature, giving you all the different tones of each color, you know, really light, medium, and dark. So here we have aquamarine for our last and final deep dark teal color down on the bottom of our artistic foliage swag. Okay, pull up that stencil and reveal the rainbow beauty. Okay, I'm going to stamp a sentiment, and I'm going to stamp it right overlapping that blended swag. I chose a sentiment from the artistic foliage. There are a few different sentiments. I always love how PinkFresh Studio has just a perfect combination of fonts. They know how to pair the classic with the script. And I'm inking it up with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I just wanted a classic black sentiment. You know, it would look really pretty too if you embossed it in gold. Love to do that. I'm going to turn this into a shaker. Okay, so I have a panel of fog cardstock, and I'm using the blanket stitched rectangles die along with the nested rectangles. These are both PinkFresh Studio die sets that I'll have linked, and I just line those up to create a little shaker window frame out of some light gray fog cardstock. I'm going to back this little frame with acetate, and we're going to make like a full card shaker. So I have some acetate trimmed to size, and I'm going to cover the back. I'm just using for adhesive some of that Terrific tape. It's basically like score tape that Simon Says Stamp sells, and it's Terrific. Okay, so quickly line all 4 sides, and then I like to use a little retractable needle tool to kind of get under there and lift up that backing. Once I get all 4 sides removed, carefully line up that acetate and press it down. Now the next thing to do to create a shaker is you need some foam adhesive. And I love these waffle flower foam strips. They actually come in 2 different thicknesses. You can get real thick and then just kind of regular thick. And I like them both. Depending on how thick your shaker filler is. You know, sometimes you got thick sequins or clay confetti, it needs a little extra cushion. And then if you have, like today, I'm just using very thin, kind of like confetti, so it doesn't need a whole lot of room. Okay, so we covered all 4 sides. You got to make sure all the seams are tight. Is that how you say that? You just don't want any shaker filler oozing out the sides. Anybody ever had that? I've had that more times than I'd like to admit. You make a card, you think it's really great. Next thing you know, shaker filler's oozing out the side crack. Okay, line this up. I used some just clear iridescent confetti. I didn't want anything to compete with the beautiful blend. And then I'm adhering this on a white card base. And this card is finished. It's very simple, but it's colorful, clean, white space. I love the simple iridescent shaker with that gray frame around the edge. Make sure and check out the Simon Says Stamp blog for more beautiful inspiration using this new STAMPtember collaboration designed by PinkFresh Studio called Artistic Foliage. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at SimonsSaysStamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.